In this presentation, we're going to talk about how to use the human subjects pool for the psychology and linguistics departments as a participant. Specifically, we're going to talk about what the pool is and how you'll benefit from it as a participant. We're going to discuss your rights, and we're also going to discuss the research requirement in detail. So when we're discussing the research requirement in detail, we're going to overview how you can earn credit for participating in research. We're also going to discuss your alternative option, which is the alternative assignment. We're going to discuss how there are different options for research, so there are online and in-person studies. We're going to show you how to use the pool. We're also going to discuss credit allocation in SONA. We're going to overview how you should cancel responsibly and what happens if you don't, which is called a no-show. Then we're going to briefly discuss the pre-screen and the importance of confidentiality. So first, what is the pool and how do you benefit from it? The pool is our system for helping students find studies to participate in. And it's our way to help you learn how research is done beyond the textbook. So specifically, when we're talking about beyond the textbook, we're really looking at helping you get a hands-on interaction with psychology and linguistics research. So like in a chemistry class, you are participating in a lab. We want you to see participating in psychology and linguistics research as your lab portion of your psychology and linguistics classes. You'll also learn about a lot of different kinds of research. So your class and textbook are only going to cover specific topics, while the pool gives you access to a bunch of different types of research. So for instance, within psychology, if you're in a cognitive psychology class, you're only going to cover those specific topics. But the studies that you're participating in might allow you to participate in clinical studies or social psychology studies or cultural psychology studies. So it really helps you see how diverse psychology can be. It also allows you to see the variety of experiments and the variety of methodologies that exist. So for instance, you might be having a conversation with peers, you might be filling out questionnaires, completing a computerized task. There's a lot of different types of methodologies that you might be participating in. And finally, your participation contributes to society. We have two really amazing psychology and linguistics programs, and research done in the 70s actually led to a Nobel Prize. So without your participation, we wouldn't be able to do research that contributes meaningfully to the knowledge about the human mind. Next, we're going to talk about your rights as a participant. The first right we're going to discuss is your right to the informed consent. So the informed consent tells you that you have the right to know what you're in for in this study, to know what is going to happen to you when you're participating. You also, in this informed consent, should be told that you have the right to opt out at any time of the study. But I'm also telling you this now so that you know that you don't have to participate if you are uncomfortable at any point. So as I just mentioned, right, you have the right to stop participating at any time for any reason if you are physically or psychologically uncomfortable with that study. There will be no repercussions if you are uncomfortable and want to opt out. You get 1/4 of the credit for just starting the study, and then additional credit for how long you participate, rounding up for every 15 additional minutes. So you just need to make sure that you tell the researcher that you're uncomfortable and need to stop participating, or to tell me in order to guarantee that you get credit if you are opting out of an online study. Obviously, if you're opting out of an in-person study, then people will know that you are opting out of being uncomfortable. You also have the right to a positive experience. Every study is approved by the Institutional Review Board, also known as the IRB, which is an independent group of scholars and community members who monitor UO research. And so they are here to guarantee that the study has been reviewed and should be ethical, and that you should be having a positive experience when you are participating. So this means that researchers should be maintaining high ethical standards, and you should be gaining something for your time. In this case, a positive experience in which you're learning something while participating, and that you should not be harmed in any way physically or psychologically. So credit isn't worth harm. After participating, you have the right to a debriefing. So in the debriefing, you have the right to know what the study was seeking to understand, to know why they used the methods that they did, and to know how your participation contributes to society. You have the right to know all these pieces of information after you participate, but not before. So before participating, you get to know what you're going to be doing, so that you have the right to decide if you want to participate and if you might be uncomfortable. But you don't actually get to know why they're doing this, because that might bias your responses. So you find out that information after you have finished participating. Next, we're going to get into talking about the research requirement in depth. And in this first portion, we're going to talk about whether you want to do research participation, or if you don't, the alternative assignment. If you choose to do research participation for credit, you can participate in online or in-person research through our SONA system. By participating for credit through SONA, you're required to do 4.5 credits worth of research, which is 4.5 hours of your time. And this can be done in any combination of credits. So you could do 2 credits and then another credit, and a half credit, or you could do a really big study and then some smaller studies. However, you do not have to participate in research. It is not mandatory, and it's not ethical for us to force you to participate in the study. Instead, you can get the exact same grade by doing the alternative assignment if you do not want to participate. You'll want to see your syllabus for the alternative assignment details more thoroughly. However, for the psychology alternative assignment, in general, you'll be doing 2-hour sessions where you read empirical articles and write about them. And then for the linguistics alternative assignment, you'll be asked to attend 3 linguistics colloquia and write a report on each. You can mix and match the alternative assignment and research participation in order to fulfill your 4.5 credits, but you will want to refer to your syllabus for the specific details about this. To participate in research and using SONA, you must be at least 18 years of age to participate, and there is no waiver. So your parents can't sign anything to allow you to participate when you're underage. So if you are under 18, you'll have to talk to your GE about participating in the alternative assignment. Next, we're going to talk about the difference between online and in-person studies. Online studies are done on your own computer whenever you have time to do them. However, you must do online studies by the specified participation deadline, or you will not receive credit for it, and you'll receive a no-show, which will be recorded on your account. Credit for online studies is based on undivided attention. So if you're browsing the web in the middle of a study, it may take longer than the specified amount of time that the study is determined to take and advertised as taking. So the amount of time that you will be awarded is relative to the amount of time you are actually supposed to spend taking this study. Online studies are tested rigorously for the amount of time that it should take a participant to participate. So you are going to be granted for the amount of time that is expected for you to take. You can only do 60% of your credit requirement with online studies. The other 40% of studies must be completed in person. In-person studies predominantly take place in researchers' labs. These are in 3 buildings: Straub, Lisp, and Milrace, which is across Franklin. When you sign up for in-lab studies, you're signing up for a specific time and day that you must show up to participate in person. So it is no longer showing you a participation deadline, but instead is showing you a list of days and time slots, and then you select the day and time that works the best for you. Credit is still based on undivided attention, so if a researcher does not feel you are giving your full attention to the study, like you're on your phone, they can choose to end the study early and ask you to leave. So next, we're going to talk about how to use the pool. You'll see here that this is what the main screen of SONA looks like. And on the top of this screen, this is the URL to find our web page for SONA. On the left-hand side of the screen is where you'll log in if you already have login information. And on the right-hand side of the screen is where you'll go if you need to request an account, which is what you'll do if you don't already have an account. And if you've forgotten the password, this is where you'll go as well. So if you want to request an account, you'll press this green button here. When you begin to create a new account, you'll be shown the informed consent document for the human subjects pool. You should read this before you choose to participate in the pool. Then you will be asked to provide information about yourself, which we'll go through on the next page. You should only sign up for an account if you do not already have one. So if you have participated in the pool previously, do not create a new one. If you have any issues logging in, you can first try to select the button for forgot password on that main page. And if you still have issues, you can reach out to the human subjects coordinator. So you'll see here that this is the page you'll be shown when you select to request an account. So this on the left-hand side is your informed consent that you need to read through, and on the right-hand side is the information that you'll be asked to provide. So you need to provide your first name, last name, user ID, and email address. You will also need to provide your student ID number. This is your 951 number. However, though it asks for telephone number, this is optional. You do not have to provide it. Once you log in, you'll be shown this main page. This is the landing page for SONA for participants. When you first log in and you haven't signed up for anything or done anything else, you'll want to first go to View Available Studies, which is circled in red here, and it's this light green button that says View Available Studies. When you press to view all available studies, you will get a list of every study that is currently available. You will see the names of each study in dark green, and I have one circled here in red, Accolade, and then below each name, you will see the number of credits that that study is worth in parentheses. So Accolade is worth 1 credit, and you will also see beside it, if it's an online study, it will have in parentheses online study. So all 3 of these studies are online studies. In some instances, if it is not an online study, it will not have anything in parentheses there. If it has any eligibility requirements, they will be listed on the right-hand side in this box here. And if you are interested in participating in that study and you don't want any more information about it, you can just go to the left-hand side and press on time slots available. However, if you want more information about the study, you can select the name by clicking on its green name here, and it'll take you to a more detailed page about the name of that study. I want to note that the study names are clearly not related to what the studies are about. They're clearly weird names, as you see here. They are composer names. So we choose composer names because these prevent selection bias, which selection bias is when people choose studies that sound interesting to them. And we don't want this because we want people to participate in every study. We want the participants who are participating to not be choosing what's interesting to them, and we want our samples to be representative of a total population. So if you remember when I talked about the informed consent, you have the right to opt out at any time due to the informed consent, but you do not get to choose a study based on what it is about or what it is for. So if we choose to press on the study name to get more detailed information about the study, this is the next page that we see. And once we're on it, we can see more information about what an online study entails, how many minutes we're expected to participate for that 1 credit that was advertised for this study. And we also see who the researchers are and who the principal investigator is. If we need to contact any of these researchers for any reason, we can select this little mail icon in order to contact them through Sona. So if after looking at all this detailed information, we can now choose to participate in the study or not. So if we're interested in participating, we can go to the bottom of this screen and press View Time Slots for this study, which is this wide green button down here that is now circled in red. So when I choose to view available time slots, I will then be shown all the time slots that are available for that study. In the case of an online study, there are not usually very many available time slots, but instead there's only one, maybe 2 or 3 at the max, and they are only showing the participation deadline that I have to participate by. Remember, they don't actually show the date and time of a specific time I have to participate, only that I must participate by this end date and time. So if I look at this participation deadline and I decide that I can participate by that deadline and I want to participate in this study, then I go over to the right-hand side of that time slot and I select to sign up, which is this green button circled in red, and I will click sign up. So when I click on sign up above, I will be asked to confirm again on the next page. So it'll show me the participation deadline again for this study, and I will have to click sign up, so that green sign up button again. So if I don't click sign up, I have not confirmed that I am participating and I am not actually signed up for this study. So I just want to make sure that's very clear that you will not have signed up for this time slot until you click sign up a second time. Once you have successfully signed up for this study, you will see this green banner at the top of your screen that says sign up successful. Then below that green banner, you will, for an online study, you will see that you now have the option to complete survey now. So that is below the study name and the participation deadline. You see complete survey now. You do not have to complete the survey immediately, but again, you have to complete it by the participation deadline. Otherwise, you do receive a no-show. For an in-person study, the main page of the study looks a little different. Instead, you see that now it says it's a standard lab study and that you'll have to go to the specific location in order to participate. They might have eligibility requirements for these studies. So if it's a study that needs someone to only have a certain type of normal vision for the certain equipment that they're using, you need to keep your eyes out for that. Otherwise, you won't be able to participate. And also at the bottom of the screen, it will show you the deadlines to sign up and cancel. So this is different than the online study because it did not show you these deadlines, but you will have to make sure that you cancel by 6 p.m. the night before an in-lab study in order to cancel responsibly, since you are scheduling the researcher's time in order to participate in an in-lab study. If you do want to participate in an in-person study, you can click on the View Time Slots for this study green button at the bottom of the sign-up screen, just like you did for an online study. And as I mentioned before, in-person studies sign up for a specific date and time. So these time slots look a little different than the time slots for the online studies did. In this case, you see that these time slots now show a date and time that you would be participating, as well as a location. So if you decide that this first time slot sounds good for you, then you will press sign up on the right-hand side of the screen to sign up for that time. So once you click sign up, if that sign up was successful, again, you will see the green sign up banner across the screen. And don't forget to note the location of the study, as you will be going in person. Once you have signed up for studies, you can view or cancel your study appointments by going to this button here that's circled in red. And this will show you all the credits you've already earned, the overall pending credits you have, and your credit requirements. And at the bottom of the screen, it will show you your study signups. Next, we're going to talk about the credit allocation process. Some of this should be a review by now, but the basics about credits include that for every 30 minutes of participation, you get 0.5 credits. Classes requiring credit require 4.5 credits, and this can be done in any combination of studies. You will always get as much credit as advertised. So if a study is expected to take 30 minutes and you're supposed to get 0.5 credits and it only takes you 25, you still get the 0.5 credits. And in in-lab studies, if you go over, you will get more credit. So for every 15-minute increments of time, you'll get 0.25 credits rounding up in time. So if you end up taking 20 minutes, then we end up giving you 0.5 credits extra. This is harder to prove with online studies. Plus, online studies have been extensively tested for test duration and should take no longer than the advertised time. Next, we're going to talk about how credit allocation works. So different studies may allocate credit at different times, but all credit must be allocated within 2 business days. So upon completion of your study, researchers have 2 days to allocate credits to your account. It does not have to happen immediately. If credit has not been allocated after 2 business days, you can contact the Human Subjects Coordinator. You should not take the study again. So when I'm talking about 2 business days, this means that researchers have from after you complete participating in the study, they have 48 hours or 2 business days to grant you credit. However, they are not expected to grant you credit over the weekend or on holidays. That's why we emphasize business days. If you have any concerns about credit not being granted, you should never take a study more than once in order to try to get the credit to grant it again. So, as I emphasize again, do not take the study a second time, a third time, any other time. Only take it once. If there was an issue of credit granting the first time, taking it again is not going to fix that issue. It's just going to happen again and waste your time. And it's going to hurt research quality. Researchers do not want data from you, the same person, over and over and over again. They want data from different people. So you providing the responses multiple times hurts their study, and it's not the point of participation, and it's taking your time that we don't want to take. So it's a lose-lose for everyone. When taking online studies, some studies may tell you when you should receive credit. So for instance, some studies may say that this is an automatic credit granting study and it should grant credit immediately. For this to work, you actually have to click past the debriefing at the end of the survey for a redirect back to SONA. If you are not redirected back to SONA, you actually won't receive credit. So if for any reason the redirect doesn't work, you should, again, not take the study a second time, but instead you should contact the Human Subjects Coordinator or the researcher and tell them that you may be closed out or the redirect didn't work and ask for credit to be granted manually, but do not take the study a second time. Some studies are manual credit granting studies, and these will be the studies that take up to 2 business days for credit to be granted. These could be online or in person. Next, we're going to discuss cancellations and no-shows. You can cancel an in-person study responsibly until 6 p.m. the night before. However, researchers can cancel up until 9 p.m. the night before. This is important, particularly for group studies in which they need multiple participants to come into a lab at the same time. So if someone were to cancel last minute up until 6 p.m., they need to be able to cancel the whole time slot because they can no longer conduct the research. So you need to check your email up until after 9 p.m. to make sure that you haven't had the study canceled because some other participant had to cancel. If you do not cancel responsibly and then do not participate, you will be awarded a no-show. So, and then if you have a no-show and you get another no-show, so you have more than one no-show, you will no longer be allowed to participate in research studies to fulfill your requirement. Instead, you'll have to participate in the alternative assignment. Only the human subjects coordinator may forgive you for no-showing so that it doesn't count. You need to email the human subjects coordinator to discuss this reversal. Reversals are very rare and requires a documented inability to have attended and to have canceled on time. Next, we're going to discuss the importance of confidentiality. So most researchers never see your contact information. They never see your name or personal information unless you explicitly give them permission. And they would have had to have IRB approval to ask you to give them that information. And even in this case, your data would always be kept separate from your name, phone number, email address, any personal information they might have, so that your data, your responses cannot be associated and connected back to you. Even if you get an email through SONA, it is either an automatic reminder or through their messaging system. So it is never that the researcher has your email unless you have directly provided it to them. Your instructors will only have access to the amount of credits you've completed, not information regarding the studies in which you've participated. So they don't know the responses you've given, and none of that can get back to your instructors. We hope that all this confidentiality will help you feel okay being honest when participating. And finally, we're going to talk about the pre-screen. So the pre-screen is a survey that first appears when you sign up into SONA. The purpose is to filter the participant pool so that researchers who only need a specific group of individuals or types of participants can find them. It also allows you access to more studies and ones that are looking for people just like you. It takes up to 30 minutes for half a credit, and that counts toward your requirement. And you get to take it once per term. So if you've participated in research before and have done the pre-screen previously, you are able to take it again when you sign into SONA the next term. However, you don't have to take the pre-screen if you don't want to. You are welcome to say no. There are options on each question to say you do not want to answer, so you definitely don't have to respond to the pre-screen if you don't want to. However, by not responding to the pre-screen, it does limit the amount of studies that are available for you to participate in. So you don't have to participate in the pre-screen, it just won't make all studies possibly available to you that might previously have been. And now we're going to talk about frequently asked questions. First, if I participated in a paid study, can I count that toward my class? And the answer is no. Compensation for study participation is either in credits or payment, not both. You cannot double dip. Second, I'm in multiple classes that have research requirements. Can I use the same credits for both? Again, the answer is no. Credits have to be allocated to one class or the other and cannot be counted toward both classes. If you're in two classes that each require 4.5 credits, you will have to earn a total of 9 credits in order to fulfill both of your requirements. And finally, if I misassigned credits to one course that I wanted assigned to a different course, how do I fix this? So this occurs if you're in 2 different classes and you need to take a 2-credit study that you assigned to one course and you want to assign it to a different course. Well, if the credits have already been awarded, you'll have to contact the human subjects coordinator to have the credits reassigned. However, before you're participating, and when you sign up for that study, you can choose which class you want the credits to go to. If you have more questions, you can check out the frequently asked questions page on SONA, or you can email the human subjects coordinator at hscoord@uoregon.edu. You can also check out other resources like your syllabus, our research pool webpage that will include this presentation and all other resources that might be helpful for you. You can also see on this page the link to the SONA website, the email for the Human Subjects Coordinator again, as well as the email for Research Compliance Services, which oversees the Institutional Review Board, or IRB.